All right, let's go, baby. Coin Vault crew coming back at you with a special guest today, Crux of Crypto. How you doing, buddy? Good to see you again.
What's going on? Thank you for having me again. First live stream we had was over the weekend. I think it was Saturday, and I had an
Yeah,
awesome time with you guys, and appreciate you having me back.
absolutely, man. Open invitation anytime. And of course, back with Maximus Crypto and Rue. What's going on, guys? How you doing? Max just I'm gonna do it, man. I'm gonna do it. Max just had his birthday. So make sure you're giving him a happy birthday, guys. Big shout out to Max. Hope you had a fantastic day.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate it. I'll make it real quick. Yeah, it was pretty good to say the least, and yeah, it was really interesting to watch Miami Vice in HD remaster. It looked so good, so good.
Nice, nice. Rue, how you doing, buddy?
Feeling, man, another wonderful day in Scottsdale. I can't complain. It's a beautiful day, especially when XRP is over $1.50. That's a great day. A
There
great
you
day.
go. Yeah.
Rue always doing his impression of Charles Hoskinson. Always sunny, always Colorado, always Phoenix, Arizona, I suppose.
Indeed, indeed.
So I kind of wanted to kick things off today, guys, briefly talking about the whole Clarity Act situation that happened today, and then we'll dive into some of the other stuff we got going on. Elizabeth Warren gave it the old college try today, eh, guys? Tried to sink the crypto ship in America. Fortunately, every single amendment that she put forward was swatted down, but the attempt was there. As the special guest, Crux, I'm gonna put you on the spot. What do you think, man? What was your takeaway from the whole Clarity Act situation today? And Elizabeth Warren throwing haymakers.
Yeah, so pretty soon they're going to have to go on recess, and they know they have to get this thing expedited and passed sooner than later. So Elizabeth Warren is the final straw. She's I mean, you do have Chuck Schumer, who's probably more important in this aspect, but she's playing like that mouthpiece of the Democrats, and it's very important to be able to play as like devil's advocate to be able to push ideas off of. So that's what I was talking about a little bit before the show. But I do think it's important going forward. Is like the overall landscape was very bullish. I watched the entire thing today. I left highly optimistic, and I think that this thing is going to get passed sooner than later.
Yeah, I wanted to live stream the whole thing, but I didn't have the time to commit to it this morning, unfortunately. So yeah, Max, what do you think, buddy?
Well, I saw your poll, okay, and I appreciate everybody's perspectives. Everybody's going to have maybe a different one, right? But I did see that despite all of the polling that we've done, I guess apparently on all four channels, you want to count the Coin Vault. Shout out to the Coin Vault. Shout out to you guys. Yeah, guess what? We can have different opinions all we want, but I do think that it's again the document. So forget the whole thing of Elizabeth Warren and et cetera, et cetera. The way I look at it is she isn't the end all be all, and we're going to get into some of these things in this discussion, like a roundtable thing and whatnot. I don't know if we're going to do it right at the beginning and whatnot, but it's going to be nice. So, guys, if you haven't done so already, consider smashing that like. It is free. Saying goes, if we have to earn it, I think we will. And really nice to have Crux of Crypto here. Welcome, man. Really nice to meet you.
Thank you, Maximus.
You're welcome.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with your sentiment, both of you guys. Crux, I do agree. You got to have the yin to the yang. You have to have that devil's advocate. I just wish they would find someone a little bit more appropriate than Elizabeth Warren. I mean, let's be honest. We're talking about somebody at this point who made her way to Congress, riding the coattails of I'm going after big banks, and now big banks are literally writing bills for her on her behalf. Right? How did that happen?
Yeah.
So, what do you think, Rue? What was your take on it?
I'm tired of Elizabeth Warren. Like, I think I'm always the
You ain't
devil's
lying.
advocate. I'm always the person like, hey, I'm sick of this shit. But I'm sick of this shit. I'm tired of Elizabeth Warren. Like, I think the people that it hurts most are the people, because a lot of people are going to listen to the garbage that she sputtered and not know that hey, Epstein has nothing to do with cryptocurrency, right? But they're going to think that, and they're going to stay away from crypto, and they're going to miss one of the biggest wealth opportunities in the last 25 years because of something that Liz Warren said. Like, and it makes me sad because I know a few years ago, like someone came in my comments and verbatim repeated what the Democrats say about cryptocurrency. So like they were drinking all the Kool-Aid, all the dim Kool-Aid, and you guys know how I feel. I don't care about either side. Like, you know what I mean? Like that. It's all about investing to me and how I can make the most money. I hate to say it, but that's how it is. But yeah, so I really feel sorry for the people that are going to listen to her.
So let me ask you guys this question right before Max dives into. Actually, Max, go ahead and dive into that super chat first. I'm pretty sure it's on your
Yeah,
channel.
it is. Big up to you, Selmo, man. Thank you so much. I did tag you. Actually didn't tag you, but nonetheless, thank you for the super chat. You're the OG, right? This guy's been watching me since day one, basically. But can't thank you enough, man. Yeah, thank you so much for the super chat, for his birthday super chat, and so on. Shout out to your Cavs. I know it's a tough battle to say the least. But nonetheless, I mean, man, it's getting really interesting out in that Eastern Conference. Of course, we're looking into whoever the Knicks are going to battle against. Will it be Ruse Pistons?
Brunson's
right?
going crazy, man.
Yeah. So, you know, interesting enough, I won't harp on this too long, but Rue and I talked months ago, and, you know, I gave a prediction. I said, I really think it's going to be Detroit and the Knicks out in the East. Well, you know what? Detroit has fought their way back in that first round. Could they do it in the second round? I'm sure Rue's hoping for that. But thank you again, man. I can't thank you enough. And yeah, man, go Cavs, go Browns, and, you know, see what happens with that, brother. So thanks for being here, Selmo.
Go home, Cavs. Go home. Go home. But no, shout out to you, Selmo, a great supporter of both channels, man, of all channels.
So let me ask you guys this: with the stuff that Elizabeth Warren says about money laundering and stuff like that when it comes to crypto, hypothetically, like just your personal opinions, do you think that Elizabeth Warren actually has a true understanding of what blockchain technology is, given most of the time she's saying pretty much the opposite of what blockchain does? With the transparency, and she's constantly harping on a lack of transparency when it comes to blockchain technology. Do you guys think, in your personal opinions, she knows that she's full of it, or does she really just not understand?
Yeah, so she said the word tornado a ton of times. So if you don't know Tornado Cash, it's a mixer. You can throw some crypto inside this mixer. It sends it back to you in a different wallet, and nobody can track it. That's actually what the hackers used when they went through Kelp DAO on that big Aave hack a couple of weeks ago. But with anonymity, especially with these privacy coins, I dropped a versus video earlier on XMR versus Zcash. I think there is a lot of ways that you can skirt around different sanctions and stuff like that if you wanted to. But I don't think like the vast majority of people that are using cryptocurrency are intending to do that. And then also, if I have a bank account, I can go withdraw cash and I could do anything that crypto can do just by paying somebody right there. So I don't think there's too many use cases that crypto can specifically do to stay away from, you know, regulators or even the banks that, you know, money itself can't do.
Mm-hmm. What do you think, Max?
I would say all of the above in regard to your question. I think it's a combination of she doesn't know at all. She couldn't find her ass from a double barrel shotgun, to say the least. And yeah, there's too much there, and it's like, well, if you were to get, I know we talk about Zebec, right? What if Congress, that was a thing, right? Like, forget the whole thing of just Zebec, right? Let's just say it was just crypto in general. You know, we have like literally a new standard moving forward, and we're at mass adoption and so on. This lady's still in office, or whoever is anti-blockchain and DLT. Yeah, if you're getting your payroll, your new payroll is coming through this new infrastructure, I would say then you're going to probably be on board for it and so on. But no, I look at her like she's just a female version of Gary Gensler, basically. And, you know, like, She'll claim that she doesn't
Okay.
know. Does she really know? Does it really matter? I mean, we clearly see her narrative and her support for it all. So I just think it's a combination of all the above. I don't really think she truly understands it. Maybe somebody's passing her some info. Of course, she knows about Bitcoin and stuff like that. But as far as the real true use case of these alts, I really don't think she gets it. Maybe is it possible she had a conversation with somebody about like Ripple with on-demand liquidity and stuff like that? I don't know. A lot of possibilities, but yeah, I just think she's completely full of it. I know we're trying to be politically correct, but come on, Elizabeth Warren, I'm not going to be politically correct with her. I'm going to stand up and say, to hell with her.
Now, it's funny you mentioned Gary Gensler because Gensler was a crypto professor at MIT.
Yeah.
So I kind of feel like Gensler might have been playing a role,
Well, not
just
well.
go ahead.
Since you mentioned that, Rue, it kind of I use that Gary Gensler being sworn into to the SEC as kind of a barometer stick, so to speak, for more politicians or more accurately bureaucrats coming in, because when Gary Gensler was first sworn in as the chair of the SEC, because of what you just said, being a professor covering mostly crypto, everyone was extremely bullish on him coming in. I remember it. Everyone was like, "Oh, this is going to be great," and boy, was it the complete opposite. So now, when you see people like Warsh or any Atkins or anybody being sworn, I'm like, "Hey, let's not put the cart before the horse here, guys. We've been rugged before, right?"
Yeah. I know he was very bullish on Algorand in particular. I think him and Sylvia Mackay, Gary Gensler were like best friends or something. So that's why a lot of people were investing in it. They're like, this guy has power. I'm going to invest in whatever he's backing.
But then didn't Gary label Algorand a security in as other court cases? Like what?
Look,
He
if you
did.
label Ethereum a security, everything else is a security because
Yeah.
you could build so much on it. So it's like the ultimate Internet 2.0. So yeah, he did go after that as well.
No,
But
I love the reference you made there, Crux, because you know who literally just mentioned what you talked about years ago? It's John Deaton. He's just like, again, with the Howey test and all that nonsense. Like, what are you going to do? Have a pair of sneakers? Is that also a security? Or oranges a security? Or, it's stupid. It's absolutely ridiculous. And they just want to keep focusing on this thing. Well, this is something that protects us all. That dates back to the 1940s. Like, last I checked, 80 years later, we need to be more innovative, of course, with our laws and recognize where the future is going to. And we already had 1996, the Innovation Act and so on, right? And again, I kind of look at it like fast forward 30 years later, where we're at right now. That's important. Hey, man, big shout out to Smoke, one of the best researchers out there. We're really blessed to have you tune in, brother. Give him a follow at SMQKEDQG. I got that memorized. Good to see you, Smoke.
but one of the biggest tells today for me personally, when it came to the amendments that Elizabeth Warren tried to get in there, one of the biggest ones was I can't remember the name of it, but it was basically designed to cause a gray area when it came to digital securities versus digital commodities. She wanted to keep that area as gray as possible, as blurry as possible. And we all know why. Gary Gensler 2.0 coming in, and still no rules, can do whatever I want, right? Everything's a security again. So that one was a telling agenda. That one told me her agenda. I mean, not that we didn't know already, but I mean,
And the CFTC chair, Paul Atkins, he's already deemed everything that is already security, like stocks essentially, are the only things that are securities on the blockchain side. So I'm very happy about that.
Yeah, I remember that, right? He was just like, we're going to get back to being the SEC and not the Securities and Everything Commission. It's like, yeah, thank you. Thank you for saying that. Like, good Lord, Gary Gensler.
Yeah,
I think
like 4 years too late, but
yeah,
we'll take it. We'll take it.
Yeah.
Hey, we'll take it at this point. Yeah.
I think the caveat to that is pre-IPO or ICOs, right? Like the Ripple XRP initial coin launch or whatever there, that was labeled as security. I think those are still labeled securities, but that's not the asset itself. That's the way that they're packaging and selling it, right? So that's a completely different.
And here's the other thing, just to touch on that a little bit more, Rob. I mean, what did we see in our collaborations, whether it's us in the Coin Vault, whether it's Rue on his own, some of the old collabs that you and I did in person, Rue, last year, right, in that room. I mean, my God, like, even on Maximus Crypto right now, you guys saw a little taste of QNT. What did we see with the Overledger? NASDAQ, data index. So when you talk about securities, we're tokenizing the entire stock market, for crying out loud. You got, remember that video that we did roughly, I think, a couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago, Rob, where you mentioned something like $46 billion, right, when it comes to the stock market. So the way I look at it is, yeah, tokenized securities, stock market, securities. Come on. Like, we're so far beyond the whole narrative of what, securities and all this. I mean, again, back to Deaton's statements. But speaking of which, I got a question for you guys since you're at XRP Vegas. Did you actually get to see maybe John Deaton?
I never saw him.
didn't see him.
Okay. I know that he was one of the people on that list for the pre-meetup. So, okay.
I didn't see a lot of people I was expecting to see at the XRP event. I think we saw like Digital Asset Investor and a couple others, but I mean, I didn't see like Blockchain Backer, didn't see like anyone you would expect to see there, didn't see. I think we saw Mickle kind of floating around for a second, but then he was gone. So,
well, I know that Deaton and Mickle and a few other people, they were at the, that thing that, shout out to 68J, James, that event that, the pre-meetup or the meetup. I know Deaton was there because he actually did some kind of speech, but I was wondering if he was actually at XRP Vegas. All right, good to know.
Well, he was, from my understanding, but the reason I didn't really care much about seeing him talk was because his primarily he was there to talk about running for office, right? So that's, I didn't really care about that. I mean, I hope he wins. Don't get me wrong, but I don't care about. I'm Canadian. I don't care about listening to an American politician, shill his campaign, right?
Didn't he lose against, was it Senator Warren?
With Warren, yeah. It wasn't even close, which, it sucks, but at least it wasn't like, he got beat by like 99% of the vote or anything like that. He did make a little bit of he did stand out, but
he's scared.
Yeah, it's in reality, it's the states, right? I mean, Massachusetts, like, what if it was been New York, or would have been if, California? Like, it just depends. I mean,
it's going to be hard to beat an incumbent like that. Like,
yeah, I agree. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that I think it was kind of like the old, what was it that what's his name said to Iron Man in Iron Man 2? He says, the world can see that God bleeds, right? So you make her bleed, and because they got to get rid of her. She's got to go at some point from Massachusetts. Like I said before, she was brought in there on the coattails of, I'm going to go after banks. Banks are literally writing her bills now. She needs to go. For me personally, this is my stance on all politicians in Canada as well. If you get voted in for a reason, and then you do the opposite of what you were voted in to do, you should be fired. There should be no protections against it. You're doing the opposite of what people voted you in to do. You're gone. Fired, right? That's just my opinion. I know we don't live in a world where that's going to happen. Right. I mean, would you guys be fired from, if you had a job and you went in and, your job is to fucking make pizzas, and instead you're making hamburgers?
Well, it depends on how many people like me. He makes bad pizza, but he's a nice guy. Don't worry about it. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. So Zebec, I guess we want to talk about some Zebec today, Max. I know you got some great stuff for us here. We saved it as a surprise.
Well, I do. I just see a comment. They're like, oh, somebody said, oh God, Max is going to talk for 5 hours or something. No, I'm not going to talk for 5 hours.
Said that? Jesus, how dare you? Where's my Greta Thunberg?
Greta Thunberg?
Oh, damn.
We're going to double down. It's an all-nighter now.
Right? They got to turn this into WrestleMania. You know what? I could if you guys really wanted to, but anyway, I'm not going to. Because I know at some point, it was probably not something that was supposed to be mentioned. Anyway, I'll do my best to fast track through this, to say the least. So listen, all right, you guys ready for this? Should we do this? We gonna do this?
Y'all
All
ready for
right.
this?
Earlier today, you guys, if you were tuning in on Maximus Crypto, we had a huge discovery in regard to XDC USA, because people were like, "Oh, they're USA and XDC. That's not a real thing," and that's not true. We already debunked that at least 2 times, right? I gave you guys some XDC and QNT, and again, that's in a recorded video on Maximus Crypto. Check it out later, not right now. Stay here by all means. I'm going to elaborate a little bit further, and when I do, I'm going to get some of these guys' thoughts, right? I mean, why have Crux of Crypto here if he doesn't get to chime in, right? So big shout out to you. Glad to have you here, brother. I really mean that. You seem like a really awesome gentleman and so on. Hope to do more of these. But I want to point out this to you guys. There is an overlap again, and these 3 are not privy to this. So this is going to be a real treat for you guys. So again, consider smashing that like. I want to start off with a community member. It's Francisco Dennis Lil. So if you see Dennis Lil in the chat, you give him a big shout out. All right. Yeah, I did see that.
Oh, man.
That's not Francisco.
Man.
Thank God. If it's not Francisco, that'd be a problem. So what I'm going to do is I'll pull this up on the screen real quick, because I want you guys to see that, guess what? The UK years ago, they kind of set the standard when it comes to like maritime law, you name it. They're going to be at the forefront, but they want to do with the United States. And basically, you're going to see how we pull in so many things. So I'm going to fast track through a lot of this. I'll have moments where I pause, okay? But I want you guys to see this. So Francisco, shout to you. You sent me this DM. It does elaborate with the other video that was released today, okay? So number 1, we're going to start off with this guy. His name is Lord Colvere Ranger. This is actually from LinkedIn. He's part of the UK House of Lords. Now, we'll tie in the US. It's a milestone moment for digital assets in the US, celebrated with like the crypto mom. Now, some of these people you already recognize, right? Let's blow this up a little bit more, okay? Where I want to go with this is what we unveil here. And when we unveil here is basically like it says here. It says, wonderful conversation about plans ahead for industry and the economy if we can achieve regulatory synergy between UK and USA. And I will do my utmost to continue to support governments in trying to achieve this. This guy basically is kind of like your crypto AIs are, but for the UK and the US. I guarantee you, most people aren't talking about this guy. Maybe you smoke if you happen to still be listening. Some be like you. Thank you to everyone working as a fantastic team to make this UK delegation to DC happen. Now, again, even though we don't have Swift coin coverage here, we know about DC. We know about people even like Rambo Lamb. We know about his position when it comes to specifically like, was it NABA, North American Blockchain Association. But notice, because I said we're going to talk a little bit about XDC, but it won't be the main focus. Right here, you have some of that highlight of XDC. Okay, that's important to point out. Also, in the picture, he's pictured with all the big people. And shout to these 2 guys on the far right. Now, these 2 gentlemen were over in XRP Vegas. They did a lot of interviews. Maybe you and Robin Room, maybe you guys saw them. I don't know, but nonetheless, it's interesting to see some of this. Take a little bit more into this. I want to take you to this next particular tab. We see here, this is something I covered on Maximus Crypto. Right here, UK, US digital assets regulatory progress is being made, okay? Despite any narrative that you've heard. Right down here, again, pleasure to meet some of these people in the United States, the Senate Committee on Banking. Again, sorry, Elizabeth Warren, you weren't included in the Cool Kids Club, right? You didn't get to sit at the Cool Kids table this time around, all right? Because you're a complete dweeb. Right here, we see as incoming president of the UK-US Digital Assets Alliance supporting the work of this delegation led by Dr. Lisa Cameron. Now, you may be wondering, like, I don't know who that is. Well, if you watched on Maximus Crypto, you sure as the heck know who she is because I got into this. All right, here's the lady, member of parliament, robust history. I don't want to get into it so much of all of just that, but nonetheless, right down here, she, back in 2021, did set up the all-parliamentary group, APPG, for crypto and digital assets, okay? And we'll circle back to that here in a bit, all right? The other area I want to jump into is to recognize that basically from her post-parliamentary career, because again, she was with UK Parliament, since leaving Parliament, Cameron was or has found is a UK-US crypto alliance. So she's like literally part of that foundational group. Seeks to foster alignment in crypto policy in the United States and the United Kingdom. I'm telling you flat out, guys, most people aren't giving you this information. All of us are here giving you this information. Now, why is this a big deal? Again, if you saw Maximus Crypto, you know why it's a big deal. Quant at flagship CDAM digital asset event. This lady is pictured in this picture. In the middle is Martin Hargreaves. Right, he's more the technical guy from the Quant Network, kind of like your David Schwartz, if you will, of the Quant Network. But right down here, if you're wondering about this lady, right, let's pull her up for a second. We see here that Cameron is literally mentioned here, and it's right here. Okay, excuse me. Martin Hargreaves joined the panel by Dr. Lisa Cameron, MP, who chairs the Crypto and Digital Assets All-Party Alignment Group. Again, think about that. Now, here's what happened recently that people don't understand, and this is an update from that video. Britain and America must shape the rules for digital assets together. I'll say it again. It's not just the United States, and it's not just the UK. We're entering a whole new era of an alignment, an alliance. Okay? So again, this was reported back in March. What we also have here is CDAM, who was featured on the Quant Network, also posted grassroots crypto campaign just forced its way into the House of Lords. Now it wants to reshape British banking. Okay, so think about how all this came together. And more importantly, just for a moment, Britain and America must shape the rules for digital assets together. Gee, I wonder how that's going to be done. And more importantly, how is that done? It's through standards. And people forget about some of these things. People need to realize that when you see the citation here, literally, that London's success as a global financial center has always been built on the willingness to adapt to change. We are entering into the era of change. From the development of Eurobond markets in the 1960s to financial reforms and the Big Bang that helped establish the city as a global hub for international capital in the 80s. Now watch this. Digital asset era should be no different. Look what it says here. Policymakers and regulators in the UK are already engaging seriously with these questions. Work by HM Treasury, okay, which will tie in Gilbert here in a second, Financial Conduct Authority, and the Bank of England, alongside parliamentary scrutiny through the House of Lords, again, back to that gentleman I just showed at the beginning, services regulation committees, helping shape UK's merging framework for digital asset stablecoins. And look at this, APPG, digital markets, digital money, right? Again, this whole thing with DC, the whole thing of the United States, again, the whole thing of the United Kingdom. Again, all together, right? All together. Please don't forget this. Now, here is why we tie it all in. I share this so many times, but there's more of this, right? So remember how I mentioned HM, right? Shout out to you guys in the UK. Some of you guys don't even know what HM stands for. I learned this recently. So HM literally stands for His Majesty, right? Yeah, currently His Majesty. When it was Queen Elizabeth II, it was Her Majesty. So it's currently His Majesty's Treasury. So Gilbert was part of this 2009 2011. Watch this. Right down here, remember how we talked about HM government? Even to present, Gilbert is still part of His Majesty's government. He's still part of UK Parliament. He's still part of APPG. He's still part of European Commission to the President. And he's still got that US plug right there, right? The Federal Reserve. That's so important to share. We'll get into a little bit more about this, but we'll expand onto this, and you will not believe how we even connect this to things like Zebec. So we'll take a pause real quick on that. Guys, I'm telling you flat out, there is something going on when it comes to the UK and US, and it doesn't matter what the heck Elizabeth Warren's thoughts are on the whole mix, because you have real standards. Real standards matter. We're going into the next era of the internet, a financial internet, right? That's what matters.
Yeah, I think that we are, like you said, entering a time of transition here. And you're going to have those, especially politicians, who want to fight it, right? Or they're going to kick and scream. But in the end, as we all know, disruptive technology ends up winning in the end, right? But it's never going to be, for any disruptive technology in the past, present, or future, is it ever going to be a smooth, seamless transition where people don't resist, adoption. So.
And what's interesting with those two names, America and really the UK. So you have the ECB president, Christine Lagarde. If you look at like Brad Garlinghouse or some of the team members especially the lawyers over there at Ripple, you'll see a lot of pictures with those individuals, with Christine Lagarde, and then also you'll see pictures of, like, Donald Trump just ate dinner with this guy. And it's pretty crazy. Like, Ripple is right in the middle of all of that.
No, you're right. And I'm glad you mentioned that. And shout out to Smoke. He came into the chat just briefly. Smoke shared a lot of those visuals that literally show Brad Garlinghouse and a few other, I think there's at least one other member of Ripple. He's on the far left side of the picture. And it was when Christine Lagarde was actually part of the IMF. Of course, she's the head of the ECB, European Central Bank at the moment. But again, you're 100% right, Crux. Those pictures, they're still there, and we can reference that. That's a great catch.
Just wanted to give a shout out to this super chat over on CoinVault. Ken Rockhound, what's going on, buddy? When you showed Elizabeth Warren's ugly mug, I yelled, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, and she's gone. It actually worked. Nice.
That's hilarious.
Well played. Rue, you're too loud over there, man. You want to keep it down? We're trying to have a conversation.
I'll try harder, bro. I was just kidding. So, let me share my screen here.
Green horn.
So, I know, bro. It takes me like 85 years to do this, bro.
Uses it every day, but still takes forever.
It's all good. I just want to say again, thank you to all you guys, right? So especially, Rockhound, thank you for that super chat on the $5 super chat on the Coin Vault, and shout out to all you guys who are here from all our communities. Really appreciate you.
So what's up, guys? Here we're gonna start with Near, right? Near's having a very, very nice time. Shout out to the Root Crew. Shout out to the Patreon. We were in this at $1.17. It's like around $1.60 right now. Here they have a recent announcement, May 13th. The government of Bermuda is deploying AI-powered public services on Near's AI confidential inference infrastructure. The partnership launches with a Near-powered AI assistant that keeps public servants' personal data confidential. So really, really huge there. And I hear like Bermuda is one of these kind of safe havens for a lot of cash. That's neither here nor there, but allegedly. Let me give all the phrases. Bermuda is one of those places. I also think there's zero capital gains tax in Bermuda as well. But let's continue here. Stellar, interestingly enough, May 12th, so like a day before, said from Danelle Dixon, okay? This is what happens when a government leans into innovation to improve its citizens' lives in meaningful ways. Proud that Stellar.org is powering this milestone moment for Bermuda. Just in, Bermuda begins to move national payment and financial services on-chain via Stellar.org, the first operational step in its goal towards becoming the world's first fully on-chain national economy. So really, really huge there from the CEO of Stellar. Now, I seem to remember here there was something with Stellar and Zebec.
No, there's not. That's all made up. Make it up.
Yeah. According to the haters, it's all made up, and Stellar never said anything about it. All of this stuff, right?
Yeah, it's been all crickets from that camp, right?
Right.
You don't see them anywhere.
Right. But oh, look at that! March 19th, Stellar has selected Zebec as a global stablecoin payroll infrastructure provider for the Stellar ecosystem. This expands our partnership with one of the original blockchain networks in crypto, powering global payments and remittances, including direct integration to MoneyGram's 50 million customers across Latin America and beyond. So quite possibly, right? Definitely check out one of our past shows where we talked about Zebec's possible first enterprise partner, which is Societe Generale, which we've talked about many times on here, right, Max? Shout out to you, brother.
Yeah, digital euro stablecoin. That's the main plug.
Indeed. So Bermuda might actually be a second enterprise or government partner here, given what Stellar and Near have just announced, right, in the last couple of days. And just if you wanted some confirmation there, Near is also partnered with Stellar since August 29, 2025. Fantastic discussion on how Near intents will benefit both the Stellar and Near ecosystems. So they are partnered there. Okay. So I'm wondering if we hear something with this being a partnership from Zebec side, but I just want to give you guys some quick Near news. Excuse me, on top of this. Oh, is anyone?
I did do a deeper dive, I think last week on the or 2 weeks ago on the partnership between Zebec and Near. That I mean, that goes back to like 2023, I think, right?
Yep.
I just want to interject also something to complement what you were mentioning in regard to Bermuda. So a few days ago, guys, I did a video that was specifically on Stellar, and of course was highlighting what's going on with Bermuda. But then I expanded upon that, and I wanted to give you guys examples with real documents that show, look, it's not just Bermuda. We had examples of like Marshall Islands. We had examples of like Hong Kong. We had some other examples of a few other countries. So I think I gave you guys like not just Bermuda, but like maybe 5 to 8 different countries. And the documents literally show it. And the main highlight was at the end, there was a BIS document that literally mentions some things like Stellar and so on. So could we basically say, Rue, that we have white labeled countries that are going to fall under this clause? I think yes. The answer is yes. So glad to see some of this. Thank you for sharing some of this, especially Near. I remember I used to cover some Near back in 2022, and I've been aware of it since 2021.
Yes,
indeed.
Tim Shea in chat hooking us up with a gem over there. Stronghold SHX is the ticker, not financial advice. I've looked into this one. I think it's a pretty solid pick. It's kind of like the #1 decentralized exchange, or the ability to swap liquidity over there on the XLM or the Stellar ecosystem. And the interesting part about, if you look at the chart, it looks fairly manipulated. So typically it'll just like shoot up, do 9, 10, sometimes like 11x within a very short, like a couple weeks, and then usually goes down and right for a couple weeks. But very interesting price action over there. I think it's a solid looking gem, and I actually hold a little bit. So it's a little bit hard to get a hold of. So you can't just like buy it on Coinbase or most of these centralized exchanges, which is actually good because when it does get listed, you can get that extra feedback.
Yeah, best place to get it in the States, I think, is Kraken. I think.
Indeed. Yep.
Oh, nice. There you go. Kraken is hooking everybody up.
They are. They really are.
Like Coinbase ain't touching like Caspa, for example. At least Kraken jumped through and listed that one. So
I just want to shout out to Axe there. He tried signing up to the Patreon. Just use the link that's in the chat, my friend. You should be okay. I'll post it there again for you. Yeah, we talk about Stronghold quite a bit, actually. It's just it's hard to do like individual videos on it because people, you'll get the odd person who'll say, hey man, how come you don't talk about like Stronghold enough, or you don't talk about Telcoin or whatever. And it's like, well, listen, it takes a while to make a video and get it prepared thing, and when people just don't watch them, right, they don't
Right.
want that. So
yeah, I usually just tell people, if you want to add on leverage to your XLM, then put a little bit into Stronghold. So like 95% in XLM, 5% into Stronghold, have fun. So it's just like the leverage position in an ecosystem that's operating.
Yeah, that's a good point, Crux. I mean, the way I look at it is, yeah, we do cover Stronghold as much as we can. I'm sure you guys seen those videos, whether it's like Monica Long. Shout out to you, Hugo, if you're watching. Monica Long, right? So there's these little quick videos from Ripple. It's Monica Long, it's Brad Garlinghouse, it's basically like David Schwartz, and they'll ask these people the questions, like they got a minute to give a quick answer. Well, my thing is, like, somebody said, all right, Max, ZBCN, SHX, quick gist in less than 30 seconds. I would say literally, all right, ZBCN, global stablecoin and payroll integration mixed together, get paid by the second, and then SHX, basically, again, Ripple, Stellar, integrations, but remittances, common ground. Again, ZBCN, same kind of thing, but payroll and so on. So we do have common ground, and both are with notches. So yeah, payroll, remittances. There you go.
Yeah, I do plan on holding a significant bag of Stronghold as well throughout this cycle. But
Nice.
you know, I'm glad. I personally feel like we have quite a bit of time left before we start to work our way back up. I'm not expecting anything really significant to the upside till next year, beginning of next year. So I feel comfortable in the fact that I have probably a good 6 months or so to accumulate. So yeah.
Indeed. So just to finish this off here really quickly, guys, continuing on to some like near news, we had Arthur Hayes here say he goes max risk on hype, Zcash and near. So Crypto Hayes, Arthur Hayes, the BitMEX co-founder running Maelstrom, said Bitcoin's return to its October high is a foregone conclusion. Okay, Arthur, okay. And is taking his fund to maximum risk exposure. His top altcoin picks are Hype, Zcash, and Near. Okay. The Zcash call lands the same week Grayscale filed its world's first spot privacy coin ETF. Its 21 shares debuted the first hyper liquid ETF on the NASDAQ under the ticker, let's say, Hype. Okay. So shout out to Arthur Hayes on that one. And it's funny that he mentions Zcash in here because there seems to be some correlation there between them, in which Near themselves said over 1.5 billion in Zcash volume has been routed through Near intents. So really very interesting there to see that much Zcash volume just routed through Near intents. And you know, they have their own, like with Near intents, it's a confidential AI system. So it's like, I guess, triple confidential there. But, you know, stable coins and Zcash are among the top routes on Near intents this week. Shielded assets are in demand. Swap into Zcash from 30 chains plus on near.com today. Okay. Near also had some recent big news from Circle here that we'll share with you guys, in which USDC is now live on Near AI agent market with confidential execution through confidential intents. Excuse me. Private stablecoin settlement is foundational infrastructure for AI economy and now live on Near to power the next wave of agentic commerce and autonomous businesses. Okay. So really, really huge there. And if you look into kind of how X402 came about, Near and Circle were definitely a part of that. CEO of Near was one of the biggest helpers with that. And of course, we know USDC and Coinbase were like, you know, very pivotal with X402. And then we have here, I just wanted to confirm for you guys here, you can check a couple of different posts. Bermuda is a zero capital gains tax place. And some of the other places that the little islands that Max mentioned there, you know, notable here, Cayman Islands, Hong Kong, Malta, Switzerland, Liechtenstein, LCX, right? Gibraltar, like a lot of notable places. Singapore, right? Where they're going to have 2049. So a lot of notable places with crypto, zero capital gains taxes for crypto.
Yeah, there's a pretty low chance, but America, hopefully, you know, that's something that Trump did run on, that would eventually get capital gains, but I'm not holding my breath on it. First of all, shout out Arthur Hayes. What I like about that dude is he is a degen, but he's at the top too. So he's having fun. He's not just keeping it like kosher, like make me Michael Saylor, but he's having fun within the ecosystems. His second largest holding is Zcash. So again, I did cover that one. The cool part about Zcash is their adoption's quickly growing. Excuse me. So they have something called orchard pools, and this is where the privacy happens. And they've been known to have like less than 20% of all their transactions shielded, and recently they just pushed up to 30%. So ever since they really rebranded from the Electric Coin Company, that ecosystem has been on fire, and this is really just since October of last year, where at this point it's up like 11x from a year ago. So it's a solid project out there, Zcash.
Yeah, it accumulated for. I was looking at the chart when it went on that run a couple of months ago, and I used Zcash as a perfect example to people why patience and consistency are the two biggest factors to success in this space, in my opinion. Zcash was in an accumulation zone for 1,200 days, and then exploded. I'll
Yeah, so that pump I think was highly. I'll be honest. I think it was manipulated. You have Grayscale. You have Barry Silbert. You have Barry Silbert. First of all, was an angel investor in the project. Then you have Grayscale, who also invests like $2 million into it. But I don't think it's that bad. You know, it sounds crazy. You got a proof of work network. They're trying to be decentralized, quote unquote. But I do think that there is sometimes good things, excuse me, about centralization. And then also getting that venture capital, because you need it to be able to market and to be able to push your project. So what I think personally happened is there was a lot of people that were down on their bags. The Arthur Hayes of the world, the Barry Silberts of the world, they came together and they're like, we need a last hoorah. Let's make it happen. But I think it's going to be good going forward because privacy is a huge use case in crypto.
Yeah, we're seeing it adopted in ways that if you had asked me 2 years ago, I would have been like, I'm not interested in privacy coins because, you know, my stance was that world governments were not going to allow them to continue to exist based on people hiding transactions and stuff like that. But now that we're starting to see it implemented in different ways, I've completely changed my tune on that.
Sure. So let's go. Like, I think a lot of people's biggest rebuttal to Elizabeth Warren saying, you know, if you have cryptocurrency, it is actually a way for, you know, hackers or scammers to be able to not be noticed. And then people would rebuttal with, well, actually, it's proven, it's on the network and it's auditable. But then on the other part, you have these other networks like Zcash and Monero, where actually it's not auditable. And that's what I like about it. Going back to like we referenced Europe earlier. They recently delisted Monero from Kraken. Binance delisted Monero. Most of these exchanges delisted Monero because they want nothing to do with it. But I think ultimately this is like the cypherpunk movement. This is what we want crypto to do, is allow the ability to transact also without being able to see who sent what and when.
Yeah.
This is slightly off topic. I just got to mention this real quick. So I was trying to answer the question over to you over on the Coin Vault, who is Rebel, right? And I was trying to just say, because everybody does this in text, right? I was just trying to type in, instead of no problem, I just try to type in NP. And I saw on YouTube, it filtered me. It said, I'm not allowed to say NP. And I'm like, blank, please, I guess. Yeah, they won't let me do it. Now, maybe if Rue types in NP, it'll be perfectly fine.
NP coin going parabolic.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. I've never seen that before. I can't type in NP.
I'm going to type in YN. Let's see if it works. YN. Wait.
It worked.
No. I'm talking about you have to go to the specific channel, right? You got to do it within YouTube, and you got to type in NP, and it wouldn't let me do it. Unbelievable.
Scam.
That's crazy, bro.
Yeah.
NP, bro. NP.
Like who isn't saying like, you know, no problem? You know, no. You weren't trying to say it that way. You're trying to say it the other way.
Don't go too hard on YouTube because you know how that ends. So you never win that battle.
Yeah.
100%.
So I got another question. I mean, this was swatted down. It goes back to, I'm not trying to dive too deep back into the Elizabeth Warren thing, but this is more about Zebec. Another one of the amendments that she tried to get passed was that crypto could not be used as a currency, right? You couldn't use it to buy anything, right? So I would assume that would exclude obviously stablecoins. So that would have been a pretty big dagger to Zebec's card programs, given they're partnered with what, over 300 crypto projects now, where you could spend your crypto through your carbon card anywhere Visa's accepted. Would that I would assume that if something like that eventually passes, that would shut that program down. Anything outside of stable coins, would it not?
Yeah, so that's a good note that you just brought up. Like, legal tender is, I guess, the correct verbiage. When we're talking about the Constitution, the legal tender would be the fiat of US dollars. So really not too many people are trying to push crypto currently in its current form to be legal tender. I would personally like it to be, because right now we get taxed twice for the capital gain and also the transaction itself. I don't think the end state ever is going to be really it is a legal tender, other than maybe stable coins. So I do like how you finished that last part up, adding stable coins into it. That may be the only piece that I think probably won't get hit with it, which would allow Zebec to streamroll payments and these other networks to do what they got to do.
Mhm.
Sounds like that'll be the crux. No pun intended.
Crux crypto.
Well played, sir. Well played. Yeah,
You're on
because-
fire with the quips and the puns tonight, Max.
but he can't post
Oh,
MP.
thanks.
Though.
Yeah, it might have just been that one time I saw Tim, typing in and so on. So we do appreciate his feedback. Do you have anything more you want to expand upon this, Rue, and want to expect your time, and what you're sharing?
Nope, that's it. Thank you, brother.
Also, are you guys cool with us transitioning to this next part of what we had from what we referenced earlier?
Yeah, I just wanted to show this real
Sure.
quick, guys. Make sure that you're going over and subscribing to Crux of Crypto's channel. Fantastic guy. Second time he's been on the streams with us. Hope to have him over quite a bit more. Make sure you go shoot him a sub. Let's get those numbers up, guys. 546. Let's get it to 10K subs already. The man deserves it. You should see some of his deep dives, some of his comparison videos. Look at this.
Indeed.
Nero, Zebec versus Kita. Absolutely fantastic stuff, guys. You're missing out. If you're not subscribed to the Crux of Crypto, I don't know what you're doing with your life.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
No problem. And you got some fantastic thumbnails, so kudos to you on that, man.
Thank you. Yeah, I basically do everything on the channel except for the editing. So I send it out to my editor for that. But everything else, thumbnails, B-roll, and that type of stuff.
Oh, so you sent it to a guy that's basically like me. It's cool.
All right. There you go. You're good at editing?
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm okay.
He's DaVinci, was it a DaVinci something?
It's not. I know you're not sending it to DaVinci Jeremy. I know you're not sent to him.
No.
Why is he editing? He's only going to edit a Bitcoin video, and that's it. So
no,
that's a bad
he's
joke.
moved a little. He's moved the needle a little bit, because he used to be like, buy Bitcoin at $1. What are you going to lose? Now he was pitching meme coins like a year ago. He had
Right?
like Pepe, PEI. He talked about Caspa. Yeah, he's kind of.
And now he's going to have the NP meme.
I send my Zebec
You're
videos.
always Rue, right? Anyway, okay. All right.
I send my Zebec videos over to get edited to Jerry Banfield. I haven't gotten any back
Oh
yet.
yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure how that's working out real great. So
They come back going to zero.
I'll put this out there, and this is the last time I'm going to say it. So I did get some requests on my Patreon to debunk that. I just want to say I want to change my mind on it, because listen to this. I went to his YouTube channels where he had all those thumbnails originally, where it says QNT to 0, XRP to 0. I remember when he did the one on XRP to 0, it literally went from 70 cents to as high as 365. Anyway, let's not even mention that. But there was at least 10 projects where it all said to 0, and I was just like, all right, so let's not click on the latest section. Let's click on the popular section. And then I noticed his most popular videos were the ones to 0, but anything that had a substance, like an update, those didn't get much clicks and views. And I was just like, okay, I see where he's going here. And then again, nothing really personally against him. And I mean, back to what Rue or Rob was saying, hey, if that's your hustle, I guess that's your hustle. Kudos to him. But then I also noticed, right, this is what I want to share with everybody, just be transparent. I also noticed that section, okay, all those videos are gone. All those thumbnails are gone. right? And how I know that is because when I went to another site he has, when you go into that section, it says like video removed, or it doesn't exist or not archived. I'm like, oh, okay, I see here. You're not wanting to share that anymore, or maybe you got punished for some particular reason. So he has a new narrative where he doesn't say it's 2-0. He's got another way of basically sharing it where it's not says 2-0. It is what it is, man. I know a lot of people follow him, but I mean, check out real research, you know?
Let's be real though. Like, no hate from me personally. I think he's a smart businessman, right? Whatever makes you money makes you money.
Yeah. You know what though? Hold on a second. Whatever makes you money makes you money. I get that, but there's also the whole thing that if I'm going to be on camera and I'm going to tell people about some of this stuff, it's not just about making money, right? I want the Lord's blessing in my life. Thank you very much. And for me, you're not gonna. How can you be truly blessed by? Oh my gosh! I mean, being that type of person, steering people away, and then it's like we talk about Bitcoin maxis, right, Rob? I mean, it's just like, you know what Campy is, and I have nothing against that. I know Rue pronotes, you know what, like the Clown Posse and so on. No, it's not them. But anyway, my not because you're from Detroit, nothing against Detroit, right? But my main thing is I refuse. I know it sounds kind of tribalistic, and that's not my style. But I swear, if somebody said, Max, why don't you cover that 3-letter thing that starts with an I? The main reason is because he, for the most part, has been the face of it. And that's kind of sad. I'll have to admit. Maybe that's me being emotional or whatever. I don't cover it because mainly he's the face of it. And Rue, maybe you'll change my mind because you have excellent coverage of that particular coin and project. But every time I see it, I see that guy. And that's what bothers me.
Max, let me help you out with this one. I have a NEAR versus ICP video.
Okay.
And it's dope. You got to check it out sometime.
All right.
It'll help you a little bit with that ICP narrative.
I'm for the most part, I'm not that emotional guy or anything like that. But it's just every time I cover it, I'm like, oh, this is a cool thing. Boom, his face comes up. Like it's like a cloud. It just comes up. I'm like, and it won't go away. It just won't go away. I want Rue's face to come up instead, and maybe that will happen in due time. I don't know. Oh, of course will happen, Max, when it goes to the moon and you didn't get in. Yeah, that could be applied to anything. Anyway.
You know who Gary V is, Max?
Gary V?
Yeah. He says something that I agree with, that I kind of try to employ, in that is that you can't expect the same work ethic and same moral ground that you have from other people. Right?
Oh, of course. Right.
So,
if that was the case, we'd be all one party. We wouldn't have difference of opinions. There wouldn't even be the need for freedom of speech or any of that stuff, right?
Yeah. So me trying to be optimistic about this, if I wanted to learn a lot about a project, what most people who shill it aren't going to say, I'd probably go check his channel out, right? Like if I wanted to know the bad things about, I don't know, if he's saying XRP is going to 0, most people that push XRP aren't going to talk about the bad stuff, but this guy may, and
I've been doing a lot of that lately. Not that specifically, but I've been talking a lot about the flip side of every coin lately, because you're, like you just said, you're not seeing it, right? Like the video I did today with the Clarity Act, right? I try to point to, because all you're seeing is all of this incredibly bullish narrative being pushed about it. So I try to just have a look at the other side of the coin and say, and lately people are like, oh, you've been so bearish. Well, I'm not bearish. I want you to have the full story, not just what you want to hear.
Yes, a lot of times you will like piss people off. They'll be in those comments and they're like, man, last week you're pitching this, why are you bearish on it now? I know when I first started, I was all about 50-50. I'm gonna give you the good, I'm gonna give you the bad. Now I'm like 90-10. I'm like, there is a bias over here. I built a lot of communities. There's no cults. I've covered over like 20 different versus videos. No cults in this. And it's just like, yeah, well, anyways, I think it's pretty interesting. Everybody should find like what they're gifted at. Like if it's comparison videos, if it's downgrading other projects. But ultimately, I think what you said, Maximus, with the ethical piece, like it wouldn't sit right with me.
Imagine being gifted at everything's going to 0 except for
but you know what though? Fear sells. Fear sells.
Fear does sell. As
It
long as you're
sells.
not like fabricating it, you know what I'm saying? I can't stand when people like
but
fud
the
it.
guy's
It
fabricating it.
sells
Right.
really well.
Yeah.
And you know, just as much as I despise the it's going to zero guys, I despise the like everything's going to 1000x guys, right? Without any valid research or anything.
Yeah.
I like how you said without any valid research, because I was like, he despises me. You know?
So yeah, I mean X is like 10 times worse. Like you got content creators on YouTube, but X is like there's a ton of people over there that are very bearish on certain things. There's this one guy I know, DB Crypto. Shout out DB. We actually became friends. At the beginning, we'd go back and forth because I would talk about a project, he would hate on it, but then ultimately, like I learned so much from his content about hating on stuff because he was right, you know, about some of these things.
Are you talking about Way Teamer?
His DB Crypto.
I thought that was DB Kipper though. Anyway,
maybe it is. He
Shout
does
to
go to
Wade.
YouTube.
Yeah.
He's dope. But, yeah.
Yep. Purple Rain, is that you, Max?
Oh, I was thinking of DH. That's Digital Hustle is Way Teamer. Shout out to Way Teamer, right? He's got great research. Let me double check, my friend. That is not on Maximus Crypto. Let's check the other channels. Hold on, I'm going through all the tabs. All right, that is on Rue Black's channel. Go for it, Rue.
Thank you. Contrarian point of view is hard to maintain, but we need full context, good or bad, for all assets. Invest bravely but cautiously. Let's go XRP, Stronghold, and ZBCN. Well, I always try to play Mr. Devil's Advocate on the show, and I'll pat myself on the back for that, and we can move on.
Yeah, Atlantic Living. Have I ever used Coinly as a crypto service to provide your my account? Just curious for your thoughts. Yeah, simple services like that. You know, you can use that kind of stuff. What's the other one too? There's another one. You can connect your wallets to it, and it just prints out your all of your tax information, all your transactions for the year. I can't remember what the other one's called though. But yes, they're fairly simple. I just print all my stuff off. I just give it to my tax guy, and he just files my taxes for me because you know what, can't be bothered, man. I will go from owing $300,000 to only owing like $20,000 because of him. So I'll get him to do it instead of me. You know, it's not my thing. It's not my thing. Because of you guys, I bought 20K. Well, I hope it's not because of us. We just bring you the facts and the research. It's on you to take the information we give you and make sure that it's valid and do your research, right? So
yeah,
if that's a compliment, we do appreciate your compliment.
I got initiated like five days ago. You know, I'm the newest member of the Zebec Nation apparently. So
you got initiated. You know, what's a hazing? We're gonna change your shirt from hodl to hazed. I'm kidding.
We go from the triple threat to the four horsemen.
There you go. The four horsemen of the crypto
apocalypse.
Oh,
yeah.
Nice. I'm just going through the chat to see if there's any questions in there. If you guys want to continue on.
Yeah, and so kind of going back to what we were talking about, whenever you could cover a lot of like bad things, let's just say like going back into the tokenomics of Zcash, like they were abysmal. If you look at what Electric Coin Company did, I can go on and on and on about why it is like there's things to worry about. But if I continue doing that, like it's going to FUD people out. They're not going to buy it. Ultimately, I want them to buy it. So that's why I do have the bias. I'm going to tell you most of the good stuff, a little bit of the bad stuff that's important, and then just kind of move on about my day.
Yeah, there was a guy. I'm not going to name him, probably because I can't remember his name, but I remember because I'll listen to YouTube, crypto YouTube, while I'm driving and stuff like that. And there was this guy who used to pop in my because he made Caspa content, and you know, I like Caspa. I think it'll do fine. I hold Caspa, but it was always I noticed a pattern, and it was always, and this drives me nuts about content creators too when they're talking about crypto. Instead of telling me how great Caspa is, it was constantly telling me how terrible XRP is or how terrible, you know, something else is. And I'm like, bro, like you don't need to try to bring something else down to make your project. Tell me why your project is awesome, right?
Yeah, I'll be honest. As like Caspa is my favorite project in crypto, but I'll be honest. We attack the Bitcoin maxis. Like on X, you can see it. If a Bitcoin maxi posts something, we are in them comments. And it's because it's like these people, they think they're untouchable. there is a new technology that has, in my opinion, surpassed the limits of Satoshi's vision. And maybe it might not be as decentralized, but it's more scalable. It's, arguably more secure. But I think some people in crypto think that their project is untouchable. But I think also you have to be realistic too. Like if something went from 23 cents all the way down to 2-3 cents, then there is a reason to panic. So
Yeah, I'm wondering what your opinion is on my opinion when it comes to Bitcoin maxis. And I often say this on the channel. Rue and Max, you probably know it, but I think it stems from a position of intellectual dishonesty, right? I mean, you have a group of people for the most part who got into Bitcoin in the early years when it was a high risk, low cap coin, right?
yeah,
And they believed in it, and now they're online telling everybody else that they shouldn't do the same thing with their favorite altcoin. Well, you shouldn't do what I did and get in early on a project that you believe in and hold it when it's a
right.
small cap. Don't do what I did, just buy what I hold, right?
Mhm. So Exhibit A, Michael Saylor, he's on record saying XRP, all of this stuff, they are securities. Bitcoin's the only one that's not a security. So these people, they'll fudge you, and then later on down the line, hit escape velocity. Now you want to give XRP its flowers, So like Bitcoin Maxi out of everybody in crypto pisses me off. I'm the guy. I'll show up at the Bitcoin conference in a Caspa shirt. Like I'm ready.
Love
It
it.
is what it is. Like what are they going
That's
to say to
awesome.
me?
Bring the
Yeah.
smoke, bring it all,
I,
right?
that's why I created the Crux of Crypto, because I'm tired of people
Oh,
that think
man.
they're the only project that should exist.
I want to tell you this real quick, Crux, and I think you used this reference earlier about Rob literally at the Bitcoin conference, and the guy was kind of acting like a snob, like, well, of course you would pay in Bitcoin. If you were there, right, riding wingman with maybe even Rue as well, and you could have backed up Rob at the at that conference, and you wear that. Yeah, you wear that Caspa shirt and so on, and just look at that guy right in the in the eye, and be like,
Mhm.
oh, you don't accept,
Yeah, I'll say, first of all, I'll say, do you take Caspa? And if he
Right.
says no, most likely he'll say no. I'll say, all right, so basically I'm going to send you this money. It's going to take, on average, an hour. So it'd be 6 different confirmations across 10-minute blocks for you to get this money. And then you're going to reply with, well, I'm going to use Lightning Network. And I'm going to say 99.9% of all transactions on Lightning Network are hosted between like 7 different nodes. So it's like, you sacrifice the decentralization piece for the scalability piece, and now you think your technology is the best. So I can go back and forth, and for the most part I know more about Bitcoin than most Bitcoin maxis, and it's because I don't live in the echo chamber. I'm outside comparing it to Caspa and comparing it to all these other projects.
For full transparency as well, I did high five a guy wearing a Caspa shirt at the Bitcoin conference. So
Hey,
sorry
there you go. Look, you might have to get initiated to the Caspa army, the Caspians. There you go.
Yeah. No,
Hey man, I have Caspa. I used to mine it. Anyway.
Hey, all right.
Oh, that's right. I remember you told me you were mining it. Yeah.
Yeah. R.I.P. Will Fix. It's sad. The last time I talked to him was May 12th, 2025, on my birthday, and yeah, we were mining some Caspa together and so on. But since he's not around, he's with the Lord. That got put to an end, but it is what it is. And but yeah, for up until he passed away, I was mining quite a bit of Caspa. So yeah, I'm definitely a believer. I've done a really extensive deep dive into it. Not many people watch it and so on, but there's certain people appreciate it and so on. But I got really in deep into everything Caspa and so on. So right on, Crux. Glad to see that you covered that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Caspa used to be in my intro. Remember, Max? I used to cover Caspa all the time. We got in really early on Caspa.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I was covering. I originally covered Caspa on. I don't know if it was on Maximus Crypto. It might have been the previous channel. Don't mention that channel, right? But on that one, we covered it. Man, it was like 000 something another. I mean, right around the same time of like, what was it? Relio, right? Relio was on its old tokenomics when I had like very, very limited supply. I think only like, was it 40 million or something like that? On its original contract, we covered it at like 8 cents. So it was right around that point, and Caspa was just dirt cheap, like maybe like I think maybe 2 or 3 zeros and a number. Yeah, people really made a killing on Caspa and even Relio. So Anyway.
Mhm.
Yeah, Caspa tends to run before everything else too. I'm half expecting a little bit of a run out of it right now, to be honest with you. I mean,
Sure.
looking at it's putting in higher lows and higher highs ever since about February 5th.
You want to bring up that chart, Rob?
What's that?
You want to bring up that chart?
Why you want me to bring up the chart? You bring up the chart.
Yeah. So I got a golden rule. It's if somebody cannot, and I think this is it, if I had one rule in crypto, it's if somebody cannot explain a project better than you, then they shouldn't have the authority to tell you to buy or to sell. So that's usually what I tell people. 'Cause there's a lot of people out there that'll cover like one specific project, and you should probably be listening to that person on that project. But if they cover like 50 of them, you're probably going to get it wrong. So that's why I'm more of a fundamental guy than a technical guy. But to be fair, Bitcoin did crash 88% in 2011. So I think anything is possible no matter what the charts look like.
Well, they say that a jack of all trades, is a master of nothing, right?
True.
So,
that is true.
Yeah, you got a bit of a bear flag kind of pointing out, kind of forming here on it. Same thing that you're seeing on Bitcoin and Ethereum right now. But higher highs, higher lows, working its way up. I don't think it's going to collapse down until Bitcoin does, to be honest with you. But you could come back down to the bottom trend. I think honestly, we have probably at least a few more weeks of choppy sideways action before we see that. But we haven't seen a real crash since like February. So
Sure,
people are getting way too comfortable.
Yeah. Look, so this is the second time we've had 5 red months in a row. We finally went through I think we're on our 3rd green month. So we went from extreme fear for like months, and we've never done that in crypto. Where the previous month was extreme fear, the current is extreme fear, the last day was extreme fear, and eventually we got to greed. And at that point, it's like, Bitcoin went to 60K, came up to 83K. We had what I still consider the Michael Saylor dump. Michael Saylor finally, for the first time, said something bearish about selling Bitcoin. And I think we're going to go much lower. And maybe the Clarity Act is a buy the rumor, sell the news event, but we will see. I'm still optimistic about more price action to the downside.
And it was crazy what Michael Saylor said is like under certain conditions he would sell Bitcoin. And everyone like put out news like he said he was selling Bitcoin.
Right.
That it was
crazy
to acquire.
It was to acquire more Bitcoin. It wasn't like, he's just going to sell it, but there was a course of action to get more.
Right, like what he basically said was like it's basically a break glass scenario would be the reason that I would sell Bitcoin, but that's never going to happen, so I'm not going to do it. But then people like put out news clippings like he said he was going to sell 66 billion worth of Bitcoin. It was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Bitcoin has gone up since since March 29th. It's up. It went up at the high, $17,800. That's quite a run. That's 27.38% over the course.
If we look at, so we came down a little bit slower than usual. Every single bear winter, it's about a year long. What typically happens is we bounce out that 200-day moving average. We just bounced off it. So a lot of people expect us to go down to I think that's a 50-week moving average, but the 200-week moving average, every single bull market, we've bounced off that thing, and we just bounced off it. So I think that's the biggest indicator technically of us going down.
Yeah, I agree. Got this for Crux. Stump Rider says, just subscribe to your YouTube channel. I'll check out the content. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Of course, Elon Muff in the house. Does y'all see that Metallicus?
Look at this. I thought you were in China. Yeah, Elon Muff, man.
Legend. He's a legend around here. Did you guys see Metallicus today? What happened with that?
I think he's referring to the news, and it's not necessarily the chart. So,
what happened in the news?
Oh, you tell me.
How am I supposed to know?
I don't know. I was going to cover some about Clarity and the Zebec update, and I was thinking, I don't know if we'll have enough time for it all.
What do you got? Jack of all trades, master of none. Yes, exactly. That's what I was referring to. Yeah,
Mhm.
you're absolutely right. You talk about every single project out there. I mean, it's one thing to, kind of cover the news and stuff like that that's generally happening about the project. But
Mhm.
like, take Jasmy, for example. I've been talking about Jasmy for over 3 years on the channel. I've interviewed the CFO of the company in
Mhm.
person, right?
Yeah.
Like, I know a lot about the project, so I tend to cover it a lot. It's
Mhm.
staggering how often I get people saying things, comments, or whatever, and it's just things that are just completely pulled out of the clouds, and you're just
Mhm.
like, what the hell? Like, there was a content creator before who just, I don't even know what happened. He just pulled out this story about how Jasmy's doing a migration to a V2, and I just pulled it out of nowhere, and
Yeah.
like, it never happened, and it's just, I don't know how people do that, but not side with him, but I agree with you that you should be able to do these deeper dives into the company, find out what's going on and stuff if you want to really, you know, talk about them. And I mean, if you want any real conviction, I mean, the reason I actually got interested in Jasmine in the first place was because I read that I saw the tokenomics on it, and I was reading that they rug pulled. So I was like, oh, interesting, a rug pull. So I went and researched it, and
Mhm.
turns out it wasn't a rug pull at all. It was just,
Yeah.
you
You're
know,
talking about that initial wick, like, or the
yeah,
initial, like, 90% dump, in the first
yeah.
couple days. Yeah.
Yeah, but people don't know why that happened, so they just.
Mhm.
I guess that's one of my biggest pet
ICP had
peeves.
something similar. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was manipulated by FTX, though, wasn't it? There was some story going around that they held like a crap load of the tokens, and they
Yeah.
artificially
I
somehow.
so I covered it in that ICP versus near video, but I forgot at this point. So that's exactly why if you're not a master of none, I'm gonna forget the stuff. But I will say, like, I don't know. So other than, like, if I drop a video on Caspa, for example, I'll probably push over 3,000 views. Like, if I push something like Aave, I just did a video on Aave and it got like 600 views. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie, it pissed me off, because I'm like, all right, I could keep pushing this video and it's gonna, like, I'm probably gonna blow up. But I want to give all of these other ecosystems the ability to have their fair shake. And I'm probably not ever gonna be the master of any of them, but I think that's fine, I guess. I just want to be a reliable source of just, you can go and at least this guy knows somewhat of what he's talking about.
Yeah, I think the most important thing for me is that people like us, we put out accurate information,
Mhm.
and then people can take that. And like I tell people all the time, take what I tell you, and then go research it to validate what I'm saying. Right?
Right,
Don't just take
right.
it at face value, whether it's from me or anybody else.
Mhm.
And that's one of the conversations I actually had with Simon from Zebec. Was he was talking about how they want to lean into community content creators more, because they want to be able to filter out accurate information to people as opposed to
Yeah.
all, because they're aware of all the misinformation that kind of gets spread around. Like, somebody put in the comment section of one of the Zebec videos I did yesterday. The question was, and this is a perfect example of people just being ignorant, right? It was
Mhm.
like, why would Ripple and XRP need Zebec when they can just do everything themselves? Like,
Mhm.
like, basically, like, why would they partner? And my response to that, like, quite simply put, is, I don't know. Ask Ripple, because they partnered with Zebec to use them. So
Mhm.
maybe you know more, stranger on the internet. I don't know.
People said the exact same thing about Stellar. It's so funny. It's like, did you even do any research before you put that comment in the chat? You know what I mean? Like, that's crazy.
Well, I like, you guys have heard me talk about it before. When it comes to the accredited investor programs in the stock market, I always thought it was a scam. I always thought it was just so the rich could stay rich. But the moral of the story was always that the average retail investor is not mature enough for pre-IPO stocks. And I thought it was all a load of malarkey until I started covering crypto and seeing the reactions of crypto investors. And largely, not everyone, but largely, I agree 100%. The average retail investor is most definitely not mature enough for high volatility investments.
Yeah, yeah, but let's just say the average investor knows that SpaceX is going to be a good investment. They can't get access to it,
Yeah.
or some of these like private stocks.
Yeah.
Yeah, with accredited investors, even on the crypto side, like Ondo, for example, they had like OUSG as a product you can get if you're only an accredited investor. And as much as I know about it, I'm not going to go get that status, but yeah, I think there's pros and cons for sure. I can understand, being able to protect the customer, but that's exactly what Elizabeth Warren wants. She's the one who wants to protect everyone. But there is a filter of you have $1 million net worth, you have this amount of income every year. Yeah, I see pros and cons.
Yeah, definitely pros and cons. But again, it comes back to, I think that there's a lack of understanding that when you get into investing, especially into crypto, this is a self-sovereign kind of thing, right? And it's the same thing with self-custody. I try to tell people this at least once a day, once every couple of days. I get DMs from people saying, man, my wallet got drained. What can I do?
Yeah.
And the short answer is nothing.
Nothing.
You're responsible for your money. There's no manager you can call.
Right? But that should make them a better investor. I told you guys last time I lost 39 Ethereum through Celsius. I lost 22K through UST. Like, I'm part of some of the worst rugs in crypto. And I'm here. I accepted, that I made the mistake and I grew from it. And really, crypto is just weeding itself out right now. There's a ton of people that are getting smoked and they're leaving forever, and they've accepted defeat, and they're not going to be the ones that make a good ROI. So like right now is the time you should be DCAing into these Zebecs and these Zcashes and these ICPs and near protocols. We just have a good opportunity for the next at least 3 years, if we are in the 4-year cycles. But yeah.
Brew, Max, got any input there? You guys have been quiet.
Well, it's just I'm listening to you. Huh?
Someone in the chat said, "Let Max talk."
Well, it's just on Maximus Crypto. I have on the headline, and here's the thing, right? I love the idea that we're collaborating. Let's just be honest. One of the main issues, you get like a lot of people. It's everybody's turn to talk or whatever, right? And if two people talk, especially on StreamYard, it's like a tunnel, right, where it zaps out the other guy trying to speak. I don't know. StreamYard is gonna have to fix that, but I didn't know how much time that we had, and what I wanted to share, because I saw your poll was I think you had it on CoinVault and also your channel, Rob, was about the whole thing of clarity. Like, what was your poll like? Is clarity, does it matter? And my answer is, yeah, it really does matter. I know some people said, like, there's a big percentage of people are like, no, it don't matter. And the other one on the poll said they're not sure. So I just want to kind of like address some of those things to actually provide you some things from some institutions where it's like, yeah, guess what? It really does matter. We could have our opinions all darn day long. But yeah, it really does matter. I don't know if you want to get into, I don't even know if we have time for it. And then the other thing was from Zebec, a big discovery. So anyway.
I think the question was something along the lines of, is it good or bad for crypto? Something along those lines.
Is clarity good or bad for crypto?
The Clarity Act, yeah.
Oh, it's going to be fantastic for crypto. That's something I want to share with you guys if we have time. I do see that this came from Chris Culp on Maximus Crypto. Thank you so much. So he says, let's be real. If people's access to shady assets was really concerned, then outlaw gambling and lotto. And let's hold billionaires accountable for declaring bankruptcy to get out of bad investments. That's a great statement.
Mm.
Well,
that's a loaded statement. Yeah.
A lot of the degens kind of left crypto right now, though, and they're over on the prediction market.
They'll be back. They'll be back. Once Bitcoin passes 100K, it is on.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Oh, we have I think another one. Yeah, go ahead.
Let's go, Root Crew. Good research, guys. Love you guys. Thank you, Daniel Minshaw. Appreciate it, brother. A consistent donator. Thank you.
Yeah, we do appreciate it.
So you were saying, Max?
Well, do we have the time or do we not have the time? Because I mean, I don't want to get into this and you're like, bro, Max, I just got a text. I gotta beat it. You know what I mean? So
well, do we have time as a matter of perspective? Do we have time for you to, like, are we talking a half hour? Or are we talking three or four hours? I don't know,
man. I wouldn't want to show any tension or anything. Yeah, I'm gonna
Point it out
fast.
rude.
I'm gonna go like maybe 10 minutes at the most. Obviously, respect it. You know, there's 4 of us here to chime in, so you guys do the math. I'll try to do my best to talk real fast through this, but nonetheless make it comprehensive. So I want to share this. This addresses the whole thing. Huh? What?
I'm just busting your balls, buddy.
Okay. All right. So on Maximus Crypto, I'll give you guys more of an update on the whole thing of XDC USA because we're not going to have time. Okay. But it is a big update. US, in my opinion, there's hope for the US dollar, and there's this thing called USDAI, and I can guarantee, like Charles Barkley would say, I can guarantee you're going to hear a whole influx of people talking more about that. I'm telling you flat out, especially you guys that are into Metallicus and Loan Protocol and all that. This is another platform that has literally like loans, but you're doing it in a form of like kind of like how Bitcoin originally was made, but it's the next level, right? It's a huge discovery. Anyway,
Is that DAI itself, like the stablecoin DAI?
nah, it's not stablecoin DAI.
Okay.
Yeah, I addressed that. That's all right.
Okay.
There was a big update with XTC about that, so I will shift from that. After this show's over, I'll just post an update over on Maximus Crypto Patreon for that, and you guys will understand why. What I want to do now is I want to get back into the topic of clarity, and then we'll shift over after that, get some comments from you guys briefly, and get to this big update, big discovery for Zebec holders. So again, if ZBCN is your thing, that's a treat. I want to address this. Big shout out to Smoke. He kind of came in briefly just to say hello, so we thank our brother for that. This is why, even if I was like a person that said, no, clarity doesn't matter, or was unsure, I would just go to this. Literally, I would just go to this. Guy's like freaking cheat code, okay? I want to pull this up. So for one, regulatory clarity is the single most critical catalyst for the institutional adoption of RWA tokenization. A predictable legal framework provides the confidence for asset managers, banks, and investors to deploy capital at scale. This right here, this is really all you need when it comes to these polls. I'm being polite here. This is documented. Amplify ETS is where this is cited from. Again, he has this all highlighted. Again, while harmonized global rulebook has yet to emerge, a fragmented but increasingly clear multi-jurisdictional map is providing the guardrails for compliant innovation. People say, oh, ISO is a nothing burger. That's being compliant. You have to have standards in place. Right here is your real nugget, your real treat. The Clarity Act, again, is the single most important catalyst. So I'm going to play this. And again, Smoke, he goes to some of these places, right? He goes to these, I guess you could say, legislative meetings and so on, right? The rules of the road are being established. I want you guys to hear this, right? Like he says, he's inside the room. So we're going to play this. This is 26 seconds. I'll share a little bit more with actual documents. Here we go.
The goal would be to make sure that we are letting the good players still be able to innovate.
So right there we see Elizabeth Warren and some familiar people there, right? And nonetheless, again, who better to give you guys some documentation than recognizing somebody that does some of the research, because he's literally there. He understands what's going on. The other area I want to jump into is to literally point out this right here. Again, the Clarity Act is advancing in the most significant crypto legislation in U.S. history. Again, this is, sometimes people see the whole thing of clarity, and it's just like, I see everybody talking about it, but you don't understand it. It is the single most significant crypto legislation in U.S. history. Mm-hmm. Moving through Congress appears close to passage. Could unlock trillions in institutional capital currently sidelined. I saw a report, and it basically mentioned something like $500 trillion, which some people are like, I didn't know there was that much money that we can basically funnel in and so on. Again, guys, we're talking about tokenized internet. Can we really put a real true value on the internet? All right, watch this. He points out, again, documents. So for one, I want to pull this up and get some insight from you guys. So right here, I'm just going to shrink it down just a tad. All right. Key developments this quarter. I mean, in reality, it was the second quarter, right? We're not quite the third quarter. So second quarter. The Clarity Act is advancing. Again, could unlock trillions. How about capital, right? We talked a little bit about, I think, BlackRock, Larry Fink earlier. Despite a 50% drawdown, professional investors prove to be diamond hands, right? We're diamond hand in a lot of this stuff, right? Some people got wrecked by diamond handing a lot of memes, to the exception of, you know, your Cokes and Pepsis, your Dogecoin and your SHIB, but even those got wrecked, right? But a lot of people are diamond handing us. ETF outflows were minimal compared to inflows. Major banks, including JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley, Bank of America, are now actively building crypto infrastructure. How many times have we seen ties to JP Morgan literally mentioned in orchestration? Was it XRP to JPM coin? Remember, there was a nugget that was shared about a month or two ago. Morgan Stanley, Bank of America, as we know, partnered with Ripple. Quantum computing fears are overblown. Recent headlines spooked markets, but the reality is that Bitcoin uses the same cryptography as every bank, brokerage, and military system on Earth. This is a civilization challenge, not BTC problem, and the industry is already preparing. This last point. Historical perspective, Bitcoin is down 46%. Crux, you mentioned, like at that one point was back in 2011 where it crashed to 80% from its highs, well within the range of prior drawdowns that preceded major bull runs. Every previous drawdown occurred during periods of continued adoption. So my thing is, it's referencing things like this. I mean, obviously Smoke has a ton of material and I cover it as well. But again, please keep in mind that we can have our opinions all we want, and we can answer some of these polls all we want. But when we get more into the key developments, we see here that this is truly the most significant crypto legislation in U.S. history. And it has to move through Congress, unfortunately, and that's just part of the deal. And that's how the world works until, I guess, apparently something radical change. But that's the way I look at it. And no matter what Elizabeth Warren wants to say, again, we can see some things. And we are going to get there, and there is going to be some compromise. That's just how it works. But after compromise, when we see that people can finally understand the use case and it's affecting their own personal lives, like, again, even things like how fast escrow could be, or how long underwriting can be, and that's just the tip of the iceberg, right? It affects all of us, right? It's going to affect us here at home, retail. We're going to see institutions literally proclaiming the use cases moving forward. And I think if you combine both of those things and realize, you know what, the next era is truly blockchain and it is truly DLT. I mean, even at the grocery store, right? I saw a project I covered a while back. It was part of the BSV ecosystem. Shout out to them. Their CEO, forgot the guy's name, but shout out to him. He had a project, right, that tokenizes, for example, like wine and some other things. And the main thing was to be able to take your phone and go down to the grocery store aisle and just quickly verify, like, is this real, true olive oil, right? Because sometimes they'll claim this is 100% extra virgin olive oil, right? Mm-hmm. And then you find all these additives and it's not really the real McCoy. And he's got this thing where it verifies it on the app and instantly kicks it over to the blockchain for verification. And that's just one example. Mm-hmm. So when we get to this, no matter what Elizabeth Warren wants to claim about and so on, it's how we can share those benefits. And I think that's going to be the next era. Mass adoption isn't even close, but all these things, for the most part, that we cover, they're going to be household names. And I think that's what people miss out. Like even with Ripple, with on-demand liquidity, that's Ripple's main product. Hardly anybody talks about it enough. Like, you just skip over that. And that's a major, major deal. We're talking about tokenizing debt. We're talking about basically like a lender of last resort. We already tested Bitcoin. The IMF did. Literally, I shared documents. They tested Bitcoin as a lender of last resort. Didn't work out too well because it didn't meet the rules. Guess what? Ripple meets the rules. And we see how Zebec has strategically aligned themselves. You guys can share your thoughts nonetheless if you want. Again, the Zebec part will be really quick, but it's a big, big discovery. Anyway.
Well, I think that we're moving into a time, like you were saying, the adoption will be there, but I personally believe most people will be using a lot of these crypto technologies, blockchain technologies, and they won't even realize it. The majority of people, investors and stuff like that in the United States alone, the majority of them don't understand crypto. They're like, we're the minority by a long shot. And so when these companies start, really seeing that mass adoption, like Zebec, for example, or Jasmy's personal data locker, you're going to see people getting their payroll streamed to them, like, daily, hourly, minutely, whatever they go by. I don't know if minutely is even a word, but I digress. I
like that word. Go for it.
All they're going to know is that they're getting paid by the hour, or they're getting paid by the minute, or whatever the case might be. they're not going to understand the technology behind it, nor are they going to give a crap about it, right? But so that's how deep the roots are going to start to go when it comes to a lot of these technologies. Same thing with Jasmine and their personal data locker, their partnership with Panasonic. Your Panasonic IoT devices are just going to be sending data to your personal data locker, and companies are just going to be buying it. You're just going to have that stream of passive income, right? Is it going to change your life and make you a multimillionaire? Of course not, right? But it is a stream of passive income. The point is that all of your IoT Panasonic devices, and in the future probably more companies, are just going to be automatically sending your data to your PDL. You're not going to know it. You're not going to be sitting there actively paying attention to it or care about the technology behind it as the average American, Farmer Joe or whatever, right? He just knows that, oh, look, I got paid in some stable coin, JPY, whatever, like. So
I need to add to that real quick because you made a great point there, Rob. And where I want to interject just real briefly is we could talk all day long, you guys, about the use cases. I mean, God, Rue, how many times have you done it on your live show? We get so deep in some of this stuff. Crux, apparently, like you do have some excellent deep dives. We all do deep dives. I want to go back to Zebec for just a brief moment. Here's what basically separates itself from the pack. Please listen to this, everybody. If everything we said just went right past your head, here's this. And everybody can vouch for this. There's somebody that you know. Maybe you're that person. And you can get in a tough financial situation, which you'll basically do what? You either go to your best friend or a family member, depending on your situation. You'll say, listen, I want to borrow something. I'm in a jam. And why are you in a jam? Well, because you live in paycheck to paycheck, right? It sucks, right? Like the freaking dollar is not that worth that much, lost over 70% of its value and so on. But everybody, for the most part, when they get in that tough pinch, will say to whoever they're going to borrow the money from, right? Hey, listen, can you just loan me maybe like a couple $100 for I can get, survive for the next couple of weeks? In reality, you survive on a couple $100 for the next couple of weeks. You got a family and so on. Good luck with that, right? But people will do this, right? So the difference is this. It's emergency money. So if Maximus is going to talk about the lender of last resort with like XRP, in reality, things like ZBCN, when we get paid by the second, think about that use case in itself. You are going to say, guess what? There's this new thing. It's ZBCN, especially to your employer or whoever. Maybe they already signed up on it. And they say, you know what? To hell with the old model of getting paid once a month. The old model getting paid every 2 weeks, bi-weekly, or maybe even weekly. And to set that up where you can have literally, like I could call it like emergency pay, right? I could get this now, right? I can actually make a choice where not so much just going to wreck me. Like, you don't want to be like a gambler, like you got a gambling addiction and so on. And it's just like every time, I just got paid. Hey, let me just, liquidate my whole entire paycheck. But that in itself, to be able to say, you know what, to heck with that old model, there's this new thing. That in itself, I think people would share with other people, you know what, there's a new model. Maybe it's Zebec, maybe it's some of these other ones, and I could get paid now. NBA players, as you guys know, right? They years ago want to get paid in Bitcoin, right? Tristan Thompson, we talked about this, I think, on the Coin Vault. He recently mentioned that he recognized all sorts of blockchain DLT projects outside of Bitcoin. I think moving forward, that narrative of, I want to get paid in Bitcoin, it's going to change some of these altcoins because they're going to recognize, guess what? I don't want to necessarily, I want to get paid now, right? For whatever reason. And maybe they do still, of course, the Bitcoin thing, and that's fine. But man, I'm telling you, people are going to wake up to this.
I just wanted to highlight this comment because it's awesome. I don't know none of you guys, but I'm going to follow all of you.
All right. Well, thanks, man.
Appreciate it.
Very nice. That was a win.
For sure.
Yeah. I want to talk just a little bit about the Clarity Act because I highly agree that it is the biggest bill or the biggest movement that we've really ever seen in crypto. You had the FIT21, you had like the digital asset stockpile, you had like, oh, now we got a crypto czar, we had FIT21 Genius Act, all these different bills. But this is the one with the writing is on the wall. So yeah, like Larry Fink, like 5 years ago, Bitcoin is trash, whatever, don't own it. And then out of nowhere, like a couple of years ago, he converts. Same thing with JP Morgan. Jamie Dimon, he is on the newer side. He only converted like maybe 2 years ago or so. But once the biggest institutions and the biggest banks have already, given their thumbs up, it's go time. And at this point, we're just waiting on the politicians to figure this thing out for us. But I think this is probably the most certain I've ever been in terms of, is crypto going to work out? Because it's worked so far in terms of, we didn't have the institutions, we made it to 5 trillion market cap, cool. But now we have, the banks that are willing to allow us to borrow against it, and all these other use cases we just talked about. So I'm just highly optimistic, and I think the Clarity Act can push us out of bear winter.
Yeah,
I would
having
agree with that.
institutions and like retirement accounts, like
Mhm.
really when you think about it, like don't too many people invest in the stock market, right? Their retirement account does it for them. So when we think about the ETFs and things like that, that's really going to push crypto forward. And
Mhm.
we're finally getting that today.
Yeah, Rue is 100% spot on with that. And again, it's integration. This is like, Rue, how many times you share Stripe, bro? Right? How many times we're talking about Stripe? I mean, somebody in the comments mentioned the whole thing of like, what crypto, Texan, shout out to you. What exchange? And I said like Kraken. I mean, obviously I promote a lot of like BTCC and so on. There's nothing wrong with that, but I'm talking about just strictly ease of access. Like, in my opinion, I have tried out so many exchanges. Rue has, we all have, right? Um, maybe I should get sponsored by Kraken. I just remember the last time I won on Kraken, it was like, good God, you guys, Kraken, should set the standard moving forward for everybody else. But then I looked more into it, Rue, and I was like, no, why is it so easy? It's Stripe. That's what makes it so easy. So again, what was the main hurdle for a lot of us, right? I mean, I own stocks. I know you do, Rue, you cover it. We all do for the most part, right? I don't know about you, Crux, but unless with stocks, it's a hurdle, right? For a lot of people, it's just like, oh, I got to sign up for this, I got to do this. It's just it's not. It seems like a lot of red tape for the most part. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's Robinhood, some other ones, but again, when we talk about like with crypto and blockchain and DLT, it's just so much more easier. Again, people just want that automation, and that's where we're at, right? And this stuff is connected to the plumbing anyway.
Yeah, I have a. Oh, go ahead, Crux.
Yeah, Kraken. So Kraken has like an exclusive partnership with X Stocks. I did an X Stocks versus Ondo video. It's pretty dope, and it talked about X points. With the interesting part is you can now get like tokenized Tesla, for example, and the liquidity is high enough to not crash if you buy a good amount of it. But then you also can get like exclusive perks and stuff for owning these stocks over time. So I personally haven't used Kraken to buy stocks, but I can understand like where the regulatory gray area is and why there are issues, just because this is a product that essentially really isn't regulated yet. But as soon as the Clarity Act passes, I think the reins are on, and I think Ondo would be able to be put onto these exchanges like Coinbase. So
now you're 100% with that. I have to check out a little bit more in regard to we said the X points.
Yeah, X points is interesting, man. Like
okay.
Imagine like lending out your Tesla stock, getting your 5% APY, borrowing it, but then also getting extra incentives for X points. Yeah. And I think that dropped like a month ago or so. But as U.S. investors, we don't get access to anything. So
okay,
that's something. Yeah.
I have a recurring weekly buy through my bank for a basket of stocks. It's mostly just like Meta, Nvidia, Microsoft, stuff like that. But that's automated. But they just do that for my tax-free savings account for me and my wife every Tuesday. So
smart.
Yeah, that's a cool thing to do. You guys want to close it out with the big discovery in regard to Zebec?
Let's get it.
All right, guys, a reminder. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything. So usually I say if we have to earn it, we will. We shared a lot of information. So on all the channels, do us a solid. If you haven't hit that like, please hit the like. So I think by this point, we did earn it. Oh, you didn't earn it? I just tuned in. You didn't earn squat. Well, guess what? You can always go back and rewind. I don't know where you guys are. This is a live show. But for all the people that watch, for all the people that watch from the beginning, I think we did earn it at this particular point. But in this, if you're just tuning in, oh boy, would we have ever have earned it? So for one, a big reveal again, more of the quant solidification with Zebec. I'm telling you flat out, I think there's something there, you guys. When we see Simon Babakani and basically kind of like his headquarters was at the UK and whatnot, I think there is something there when it comes to quant and Zebec again. And I know maybe you guys are like, man, you gotta keep harping on this. I don't have to harp on it. I don't have to harp on it at all. Zebec does it for me. What in the world you talk about, Max? Let's get into it. Let's pull this up. This is straight from Zebec, and it came out earlier today. I'll share this on the screen, and we're going to start right here. and then we're going to get some of these gentlemen to chime in. So number one, Zebec Network reports a few hours ago, as Zebec continues to scale, security remains a top priority across our ecosystem. Since integrating with hyper-native labs, which I'll give you a little gist on them, where they point out they have Web3 threats in real time, 200 plus dApps. I like that, 200 plus dApps. Okay, like when I think of quant, what are they doing? MDApps, right? And they have thousands of them, 3,000 plus, right? So you see this, 200 plus dApps, chains, wallets, financial institutions rely on hyper-native to prevent hacks and exploits and fraud. Immediately I think of quant, like Gilbert Verdian has over 20 plus years. So it kind of caught my attention, but I said, guess what? That's me just thinking that, right? There's more. With more than 50,000 wallets, they have been screened across our product suite. Hyper-native helps strengthen our infrastructure with AI-powered monitoring, real-time threat prevention across on-chain and off-chain environments. All right, so what in the world is this thing in regard to like hyper-native, you may ask? Well, when I went over to the X, again, they have a kind of little thing here. It says detect and neutralize Web3 threats in real time, right? I said to myself, that logo, I could have sworn I seen this somewhere. And so I went over to their website, and immediately when I go over to hypernative.io, I saw here, yeah, secure everything, you build, run, and own your own chain, right? And when I jumped down to here, they had some nuggets, to say the least. And in the nuggets, again, they kind of addressed in the terminology a lot of things that quant authorize addressed. And I said to myself, could this possibly be a white label of quant network? And I'm going to get to that, right? But nonetheless, when I jump down to here, right down, all the way down, I should say, there's some things to unveil. So number one, talk about the protocols, but they mentioned a layer 1 and layer 2 chains. And I thought to myself, quant network has a layer 2.5, and only they have that. As I also jump down here, there's this other thing about the wallet providers. We know about Zebec and their wallet provider integration. I mean, how many wallets at this particular point? Now, to see this announcement from Zebec, when you try to unpack it, which we're going to do, right? Well, there's a lot of things here, but more importantly, it's to unveil, excuse me for a second, that not that long ago, they have some reports. And in the reports, they point out, let me jump right to here, excuse me, the sequencer RPC program, all right? Now, even with Canton, we talked about, for example, the global synchronizer, right? So it says here, secure layer 2 as foundation. Our integration delivers proactive real-time security at the sequencer level, right? They have some partnerships, and the thing I wanted to pull up was, Ian, if you look on basic search, it says hypernative real-time threat detection book demo, trusted by Ethereum Foundation, Circle, and Uniswap, right? I thought that was important because when I saw that, I said to myself, you know what? Isn't Zebec also got the whole thing with Circle and some of these other ones? They absolutely do, right? So I said to myself, you know what? I think I got enough here that I gathered. And I did see some posts from them. Again, I'm not going to make this like 10, 15 minutes long about like Ethereum Foundation and some common ground, right? I decided to go straight to the horse's mouth, which is the Overledger, and right there's the example. What do you want to automate with Overledger and Hyper Browser? Again, same logo as you see right here. That's right here. So in my opinion, this is another example. See how that matches up? That this is a white label product, and you have overlap again with specifically the quant network. So to see this a few hours ago, it's just like I don't even have to literally get into it. Zebec does it for me. All right, 50,000 wallets have been screened across the product suite. AI-powered monitoring, et cetera, et cetera. This is a big deal, and the reason why it's such a big deal, and I'll just give you guys a taste, is because it expands upon what we have here from USDAI. And again, this lady right here, Dr. Lisa Cameron, that we talked about earlier. We know about XDC and Anchorage Digital, right? We know about Zebec and Anchorage. The overlap here is absolutely profound, and the discoveries are so big because, again, even right here, the dollar bills AI, wherever it forms, and you see some of the integrations here, which I'll get more into on Maximus Crypto Patreon. PayPal's here. There's another one. Just give it just a second. Boom, Coinbase Ventures. So this is a really, really big discovery, this overlap. And if you're not aware of it, just briefly, I talked about, for example, programmable money all the time when it comes to quant network, and even from Arbitrum, programmable economy. So there's so much overlap here. It's profound. But again, your main takeaway is this. Right there is your proof right there, okay, that we have this incorporated into the Overledger with Quant Network. And again, hyper browser, 3,000 other apps in seconds. I just want to do this real quick because maybe you've never seen this, and that is ADP, because we know about Quant and ADP. We know about the Zebec and ADP, and you have that example as well. And that literally is something that's mentioned in the white paper. I believe, right, Rue, the version 2 white paper from Zebec. So this is truly a big discovery. Again, more integrations with the Overledger, more common ground of Zebec, and of course, Quant Network. So maybe we'll get more into who Hypernative is exclusively with the Coin Vault and a recorded video. But that was a major discovery. Again, glad to bring it to you guys.
Yeah, I actually have a deeper dive video into the partnership between them and Zebec coming up tomorrow morning.
Awesome.
That I'm releasing. So, but I'll save the real deep stuff for Coin Vault.
Good, brother.
What do you think, Rue? Did you? He's giving us this lucky.
No, it's interesting that you have it because I remember this partnership when they first announced it, and it went over kind of like a fart in the wind. Like people didn't pay too much attention to it, but like when you look at them, they have a lot of connections, right? When it comes to Ripple and things like that. So I'm glad you brought it back up here.
Yeah, there's a lot of partnerships that end up happening that people don't, I guess, know what they mean. So they kind of, it just is kind of like white noise, like mobile or what's her name again? It's Zebec for internet for the
World Mobile Token.
Yes, World Mobile. That's what it is.
Mhm.
That partnership, when it was announced, most people were like, okay, whatever. But then Rue and I did a deep dive on it a few months later, and it was like, wow, this actually was impactful, right?
Yep.
It is. Yeah. I remember when you guys did that a while back. Go ahead, Crux.
Yeah, this is a massive. So they started off on the Cardano network, and Cardano, they had this thing called Cardano Africa going like last bull market, and they pushed into trying to bring like deep in projects and create the infrastructure to actually survive in Africa, because like 80% of Africa does not have the ability to access internet or something like that. So World Mobile was a big part of that push, but over the time, we know Cardano has had some adoption issues. So they started going multi-chain, but World Mobile overall, I have a friend that runs one of the like the super nodes or whatever. It's pretty cool project.
Hey, speaking of which, right? I should say this is the icing on the cake. All right, I just did this on the fly because you guys are talking about multi-chain. Look at this, guys. This is really cool. Okay, so we just mentioned Hyper Native, obviously with Zebec and Quant Network. Look at this, Pancake Swap, 13 hours ago, guys. Integrates Hypernative Labs for real-time exploit detection. Look at this. TRM Labs. Shout out to you, Francisco, if you're still listening. Right, you cover a lot of TRM, and I did a deep dive about that. Even TRM Labs, we know about like even their integration with Ripple and some others. They and Hypernative partnered 1 month ago to deliver pre-transaction enforcement on-chain security for Web3. So these guys apparently are a very, very big deal. Okay. Again, I would say that those are the two most recent updates to see this. So again, you got Pancake Swap. We know their DEX is incorporated into the Trust Wallet. So again, that's your Binance side of things, right? So does Binance recognize them for some of the security? It looks like that could be a thing, right? And then TRM Labs, and of course Zebec and Quant. So that's your quick gist right there. That is the icing on the cake, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely.
I need to learn more about Quant. So what would you say Quant's number one competitor is? If you happen to know. I mean,
people are going to say Chainlink, but in reality, it's a way different use case, right? We're dealing with
Oracle?
No, it's not. That's the whole thing. That's
Yeah.
the thing that people get confused with is Quant is not an Oracle, but they
Mhm.
already have like where you could leverage oracles built into their stack, right?
Yeah.
I could talk your ear off about if you want to talk Quant, we can talk about Quant. We'd be here all day and all night, my friend, to say the
Mhm.
least.
I
Yeah.
laugh because Max will get attacked when he talks about quant by the chain link community. That's why I'm like,
The link
Oh
in the
no, it's
green.
okay.
Yeah.
Now, Chainlink is a solid project. Don't get me wrong. And again, my thing is, I don't want to be tribalistic. I kind of mentioned the whole thing of ICP earlier, right? Yeah, I finally mentioned the 3 letters, right? I own some ICP, so I mean, obviously, I believe in ICP as well. I don't know. Maybe Rue is going to just have that nonstop alpha on ICP, or maybe you too, Crux, and I'll be like, you know what? You won me over. I start covering, but my main thing is, you guys know how YouTube is.
Mhm.
You can't cover too many things, and it can actually punish you, which sucks. You should be able to cover as much as you want. But I'm with you. Yeah, I mean, watch out for the YouTubers that cover like 50 plus projects for no reason, and then they just kind of all over the place. So anyway,
Silent Flow. It's actually Crypto Futures, my handle on YouTube, and at Rob Mass on X, if you're looking for me there. So I just I run a podcast 2 days a week as well. So I changed my name to Big Rob from Future when I'm doing the podcast, and because it's not crypto related, and I just forgot to change it back today. So I did a podcast earlier this afternoon.
I'll tell you guys what I'm gonna do real quick for everybody is I'm going to drop these guys' channels real quick. So let's start off with Rob. I know you put it in there, but I'm gonna drop this literally on Maximus Crypto into the chat. Boom. That's Rob, and this next one is Rue. Okay, because I know you guys are asking this from Maximus Crypto YouTube. Here's Rue. Okay, and then here is the Coin Vault. If you're not watching, because some of you guys aren't watching from Coin Vault, you're watching right from Maximus Crypto. And believe it or not, I'll pull up Crux of Crypto, your channel as well. I mean, why shouldn't we, right? Like, you're a special guest, so we'll pull up his channel as well. So let's pull it up.
Crux put it in there.
Yeah, throw it in there if you want to.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing I noticed, Rob. I want to give you a heads up on. When I type in something into the chat here on StreamYard, it only goes to Maximus Crypto. It doesn't go to all the channels. So do you have a way where it goes to all the channels?
I don't know if mine does that, but it does. Every time I comment, it goes to all 3, I think.
Yeah.
When I post as the host, it shows up on just my channel and on CoinVault.
Okay, so what I'm going to do then is I'm also going to share it on Maximus Crypto just to help this brother out because he deserves it. Yeah, man. Thanks for being our guest, man. We appreciate you. So hold on a second. Let me just do that real quick. All you guys on Maximus Crypto, I see a super chat came in, so I'll get to that in just a second. I just want to, do the right thing and share this. So here's Crux of Crypto. Give him a follow too. So
Oops.
I'll say this. Hello, BB. Good to see you. It's been a while. Good to see you. All right. So, and happy belated birthday to you, by the way, too. I gave you a holiday the other day, but I think you're busy. All right. So here's his channel, Crux of Crypto. Okay. Give him a follow. Give him a sub as well. And yeah, let's read that super chat real quick. Thank you, Chris, again. Really appreciate you, brother. Means a lot with the super chat. So, yeah, let me read that real quick. So we have, God, I'm all over the place trying to read all this stuff. Maximus, yeah, Rob, you got all these screens, right? I'm looking at all these tabs and everything. I'm all over the place too. Chris, I almost called you Chris a Crux. Chris Culp, thank you, brother. $20 super chat. Maximus, you are appreciated. Thank you for being a North Star. Thank you, man. I really appreciate that. And I don't know. How about this? He's the star, right? He's the star, which is our special guest, Crux of Crypto.
Thank you.
That's why. Yes, that's why I have 2 screens up here. I have 2 screens here, and I have another screen facing my treadmill on the other side of the desk. I got 5 screens. That's why I do that, so I can departmentalize everything.
Yeah.
Oh, so you got a treadmill in there too, Rob, huh? All right.
Hell yeah, man. Peloton, right? Gotta have Peloton. Oh, Chris drops me 7 herbs and spices. He says, Rob, your pick with the cowboy hat. Are you a Canadian cowboy? And those picks are strongly slimming. Actually, yes. Yes, I am. This is for Hugo. Actually, here you go, Hugo. He's been hounding me to put it on while I gotta get my visual effects. There we go. Boom. There you go, Hugo. Yes.
He's rocking around XRP Las Vegas looking like a like a Canadian wrestler cowboy guy.
Hell yeah. Wore this bad boy over to the XRP Las Vegas event.
Oh yeah, David Schwartz wanted the hat, bro.
He needed the hat.
Yeah, I'm standing there taking a picture with the guy, and he's like, man, I really like that hat. I'm like, thanks. And I turned to walk away. He's like, no, like I really like that hat. And I'm like, thanks, man. And I turned to walk away again. He's like, no. He's like, it really takes somebody. It's really hard to pull off a hat like that. But he's like, you do it. And like, would you like my hat, David?
You should have did it.
Because there's like 100 people in line to take a picture, and he won't let me leave. He's good people, though. It was awesome.
Indeed.
Thank you again, Chris, and obviously Crux, right? Man, I gotta work on it. Chris at Crux. Maybe you should start a channel with Crux. Be Chris at Crux.
Hey, a rap group.
Yeah, there you go. But listen, speaking of the hat, this is a treat for you. So I already did a video on Maximus Crypto that shows this intro. You're gonna love it. You're gonna like this one. I named it, so I'm gonna share on the screen, and this is cool, man. This is too cool. Let me pull this up, man. You really, I don't know. In my opinion, this is neat, right? So it's you, Rob, and David Schwartz, and you jump literally into the coin vault. And I was trying to program the AI. I was just like, make Rob and David Schwartz swim in the coins like they're Scrooge McDuck.
Scrooge McDuck. Yeah.
All right, there it is.
Oh, hang on a sec. I'm sharing my screen still. Okay. Damn it.
My AI is getting crazy.
Isn't that crazy? Hey, shout to Elon Musk, MC. Thank you for teaching me some of this stuff, man.
There's like a picture of David Schwartz like floating around on like this unicorn like looking thing. Yeah, I'm sure. Have y'all seen that one?
I don't know about that one, but
it's a funny picture out there. It created a meme for a little while. This was probably a couple cycles ago.
I have another one because my video earlier today at 3 Pacific was about supercharging XRP. So a lot of you guys know, like, we all have dreams, right? So one of these days I'm going to have like a 59 Impala convertible. And I like the idea of having a bench seat for I can maybe put my arm around my girl or something like that, right? So right here, watch this. This is cool. Hold on. Share this.
Whoa, look up there.
Oh my God, it's amazing.
XRP to the moon.
AI is getting nuts, yeah.
In that car, you're for real Filipino Ice Cube.
Right?
Remember that video that was somebody took and I found it was funny. Like I never, some people were like, I think Rue, you messaged me and you were like, oh, you're kind of like, do you believe this? But someone took my interview with Hara from Jasmine. You guys remember this?
Oh yeah.
And it took us in the hallway and it turned into like a fight scene from The Matrix where we were on the roof and then we jumped off the roof through this building and it was me and
it was amazing. I mean, that was Cyan. Shout out to Cyan. Yeah, he's the one who made that.
I did message you. I'm like, Rob's just pulling a gun on the CEO. Like, is this what we want here?
As you would say, Rue, how dare you?
How dare
you?
Yeah, I thought it was funny. I know it was done. It was done in good fun. So I thought it was funny. Well done, sir. But that about wraps it up. If anybody has any final thoughts, we'll go around the table. Crux, we'll start with you, man. Final thoughts on the day?
All right. Yeah. War this short for you guys. Hodl, hodl, hodl. Do not go sell those tokens. We are down quite a bit, but it's okay. You know, crypto goes through these things for your cycles. Do they exist? Maybe they don't, but every single time we always go up and right. Usually, you know, you hold Bitcoin for 5 years, you've made some sort of profit. So continue to educate yourself, stay motivated, stay dedicated, follow good channels like these, and be blessed.
True.
This is the beginning of a very, very successful bull run, right? Maybe it might take a little bit longer. Maybe it might hold off until 2027, but we're here, right? Clarity was passed through the Senate. Hey guys, time's running out. All right, don't be left behind. Like, what other ways do you have to beat inflation out here? Like, don't be left behind.
Max.
Back to what Rue was saying, you know, we here. Shout out to late great DMX, you know, we ain't going anywhere. We right here. Wish we could play that on YouTube, but no,
Right.
no, it is the copyright. So that should be your, you know, your outro video tonight, DMX, you know, that particular song. But anyway, yeah, I look at it like this. We are on the cusp of, as the saying goes, like of discovery, inflection, and it's literally recognizing which projects you can accumulate, right? Not financial advice. Always got to throw that out there, but that you can accumulate at a significantly low dollar cost average and so on. And again, not so much about like, I'm going to go all out on this one project. If you have done your research, which hopefully we helped you do that, then you look at some of this and say to yourself, if you happen to have some capital, let's face it, to spend on some of this stuff, you say, you know what? I understand the use case of maybe XRP. I understand QNT. I understand ZBCN, XDC, some of these other projects and so on. And say to yourself, look, it's not necessarily all about like I can buy a great big giant bag of this, right? Because sometimes I'll be honest, QNT, people look at QNT and they're like, well, I can only buy like one or two or whatever, but I could buy a whole pile of this other one. Yeah. You got to look at QNT when we talk about the gems. Literally, it's like comparing a diamond and the other one is a big old, I don't know, a big old thing of coal. It could be coal. Maybe in some cases it could be like some gold or and whatnot. And you just draw your own conclusion in regard to that. Most people will exit out of this. There is going to be a massive shakeout. This is something I've been sharing over on Maximus Crypto, either publicly or from the Patreon. There is going to be a huge shakeout. I hate to say that. I wouldn't have any doubt in my mind that we could probably see maybe a Black Swan event or a massive crash. I'm not privy to insider information. Some big people are like, "Oh, you're privy to that." Are you kidding me? No. But my point is to recognize how you're going to position yourself. Me personally, and I'm sure Rob and Rue have done it in the past, when we've seen the blood in the streets, the saying goes, those extreme red days, that fear, just go back to the Warren Buffett statements. Not his statements in regard to what he thinks about crypto, blockchain, and DLT, but his statements about that's when you buy that fear, right? Shout out to Elon Musk in the comments. You buy that fear because guess what? Oh my gosh. I mean, I'll never forget him calling me at 5 o'clock in the morning. Now is the time to buy Jasmine. Boy, was it ever. Because even on that play, it was something like 3029, right? And then by the time I hit the exchange, I bought it. I was at like 303. Still up in the profits on that, right? A lot of other people, they came in. Think about how many people came in to Jasmine at really close to 6 cents. For them, that's towards the top and now at the bottom. So again, just make a portfolio between us all, right? Let's just be honest. We have ways we can share with you guys how you can structure your portfolio and so on. But here's a freebie. Just make a free CMC account. Seriously, just go to coinmarketcap.com, make yourself a free account and start with there, and then start adding things to your watch list because you want to pay attention to, is this at the bottom of the bottom and how you position yourself moving forward. Don't just look at, so many people do this. Don't look at like Coinbase, like, oh, I have the Coinbase wallet and it says such and such is up. Because guess what? The other exchanges could be reporting different type of data and so on. You need something that's going to aggregate that data in real time and show you what's going on. So again, CMC is free. No, I'm not promoting them. I'm not paid by them. But I always point that out because that is probably one of the quickest, easiest ways we can keep track of your crypto and add your alts to your watch list and pay attention what's up, what's down, all in real time. And you can add, listen to this, you can add your dollar cost average to it and so on. So you can literally truly see on the fly if you're up or you're down and whatnot. Having 50 apps on their phone and be like, well, on this one it says I'm up and this other one said down. You need something in real time. So obviously we're paying attention to all this. We're going to do some more recorded videos all around the coin vault. Check out obviously Crux of Crypto. Actually, back to you real quick. Is there something that you want to highlight from your channel that you're working on in a deep dive, et cetera, et cetera?
So I just dropped Zcash Monero earlier today. I thought it was a pretty good video. Apparently the numbers aren't showing it, but that's okay because I'm not always about the subscriber or the exact growth for that exact video. I'm about the world hearing about cryptocurrency, and that's why I created the channel. So definitely check out that Zcash versus Monero video and learn about privacy.
I want to say this real quick. You have a very kind voice. You sound like a kind person. I'm all about people that are kind people. You got a professional voice, my friend, and I'll have to go see some of those other deep dives you're talking about. So,
yeah, appreciate it, Maximus.
Yeah,
definitely
absolutely.
Good first live stream with your brother, for sure.
Yeah, maybe we can also do, you could be a special guest or something like that, either on Maximus Crypto or Coin Vault and record it, or, hey, man, I'm always learning myself. I don't know everything. And anybody tells you that they know everything, scam, right? Because they don't. So
I guess I'll leave it with this. Happy Clarity Day.
Hey.
there you go.
All right, guys. Thanks for supporting the channels. Thanks for subscribing to the channels. Thanks for showing up. We had almost 700 people here this evening. Nice little turnout. So we will see you guys for the Coin Vault live stream on Monday. All right. God bless.
God bless.
Peace.
I knew that was coming.